Hello everybody, Zong gets to 134 here.
And as always, I'm Average Joe Squad.
And welcome to another episode of Remember the Hyphen, the show where we look at comic books, movies, and everything in between. Chef John's.
Winning!
Now, mine was a little bit more comic book related, but fair. In this episode, we're finally going to talk about Miss Marvel. Because...
And now we've lost half the viewership.
Well, I mean, we were going to lose half the viewership with the She-Hulk thing anyway, so we might as well lose the other half, too. Then we can do whatever the fuck.
What, so you just want to lose all the audience? Bold strategy there, Patton.
Well, then we get to do whatever we want. Naked Remember the Hyphen.
No. Drunk Remember the Hyphen I'm in for, though.
I'll think about it. So yeah, finally getting Kamala Khan introduced into the MCU. I know this show is controversial for a lot of reasons, most of which are unbelievably stupid. Some which I understand. In fact, me and Colton both agree it's really annoying that her powers are different than the book. But you make do.
I'll show you later. Keep going.
Excuse me. Basic plot is Kamala Khan is accidentally given a trinket by her grandmother, which she uses as a part of her Miss Marvel cosplay for a Miss Marvel convention, which Disney decided, man, we really want to make you feel what it's like to go to convention, because damn, that was pretty accurate.
Also, damn, that Hasbro product placement in there.
Not just the Hasbro product placement, the fact that, like, we had so many callbacks in that scene. Like, I still couldn't believe that they brought back the outfits the dancers wore from Captain America: The First Avenger. But, in doing so, she gets this bracelet, which, at first, seems to give her powers. But at the end of the show, spoilers if you haven't watched the show, they reveal that it's more, as she deals with the history of her family and the legacy of the said powers, while also being on the run from the Department of Justice, a new threat that she must face, as well as going to school and other teenage things.
Yeah, this show was specifically more aimed towards as like kind of like almost like a kid show. I was told it was like that was kind of what they aimed at, the age group.
Yeah, I mean, fair. I feel like
I didn't
more
really pick up on that a whole lot. Like while watching the show, like there were points where I could kind of tell, but like for the most part, it felt like any other MCU show. So I don't really think it was like they didn't really dumb it down.
I think saying a kid show's a little disingenuous. I feel like this is more graded more towards like teenagers / young adults. I just think I think they whenever someone says that like their show is aimed for kids, I'm like, kids is not like just a one thing. You have preschool, you have actual kids age, which is like between the ages of 5 and 10. Then you have preteen, which is 11 to 13. And I know 13 is the teens, but like 13 kind of falls in between preteen and teen, if you go by rating systems. Then you have teens, which is 13 to 19, which also technically counts as young adult. Bottom line is, I felt more the teen thing than I do the kids thing. But no, I really did enjoy this, especially because like I think it really does well to kind of go into Kamala's background, being her family comes from Pakistan. I really enjoyed the episodes where we actually delved into her history. I think they actually do pretty well explaining the history of Pakistan.
Yeah, as somebody who like generally has had zero interest in it because I'm an American historian.
Yeah, but I think it does a very good, very respectful job. And overall, I like the fact that they, as much as you and I didn't like the power change, they at least were very faithful to how Kamala is in the book. As far as I've seen, I know you've read more of her than me, but from what I have seen of her from like panels and stuff, she is very much Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. Your thoughts, seeing as how like this was, I think it was you were more excited for this than me.
I really liked the show. The power change was definitely still really, really annoying to me.
Yeah.
And I know that there was a lot of explanation going around that this was probably because when Kamala appeared in the comics, she was meant to be an X-Men character, but because they didn't want to do X-Men stuff at that point, she was relabeled as an Inhuman. It's kind of the same thing that happened with Quake.
Yeah.
I guess now that X-Men's back underneath the Disney Marvel roof, they're gonna go back and retcon that so that Kamala is a mutant now, which I'm not opposed to. I'm just kind of annoyed because
at this point
it doesn't really seem necessary to me.
At this point, her being an Inhuman is kind of ingrained in her character now. It's frustrating for them to go back and just...
It's not a deal breaker for me, but
obviously
it's just really annoying. The bigger thing for me was the power change, which was I wasn't really a fan of. And yeah, the powers are basically the same. They're just more light-based now.
Yeah.
I'm still just like, that just seems kind of lazy. I'm not going to lie.
Lazy and frustrating because, yes, the MCU does change things because, you can't do it exactly like a comic book does it.
Although, I wish we could.
Granted, that's what we have cartoons and TV shows for. For me, it's so frustrating because, every other character in the MCU basically gets to keep their powers as they are. Sometimes they don't get them exactly right. Looking at you, Spider-Man, and how they really, really were bad at explaining if you had spider sense. But and to be fair, there's a lot of explanations that they tried throwing out that I just didn't really agree with. I know a lot of people are like, well, it's because they didn't want her getting confused with Reed when they eventually do the Fantastic Four. To which case, her powers are not exactly like Reed's, but and nobody seemed to have the problem with the fact that we have we're going to have 3 different shrinking characters, all insect based. And no one's going to bat an eye at that.
Yeah,
Then the fact that if we can have 2 fucking Hawkeyes, I think we can have 2 people with stretchy powers.
Multiverse of Madness showed that they could do that power set very easily, and I thought it looked really good in Multiverse of Madness, so I'm not really sure if it wasn't that if they tried to do it on the TV budget and they just couldn't get it to really look as good because obviously lower budget. At the same time, it's just kind of I don't know. I don't have to like it, I guess, is where I'm kind of looking at it from.
But I said,
I can accept that they changed it, but I'm not under any circumstances meant to like it, I guess.
Yeah, I think it helps for the most part that everything else around Kamala is at least accurate to how it is in the comics.
For the most part, there's some stuff they changed here or there that I know some people have taken issue with, specifically how they portray the culture of Kamala's family and stuff and the people around her. I'm not really that well versed in the stuff, so I don't really feel like it's my place to really comment on it. I just am, if people that are more familiar with it are telling me that it's not totally accurate and that it was kind of simplified or dumbed down, I'm just gonna have to go with that because I'm like, okay, well, if I'm seeing multiple people on the internet saying, hey, this isn't correct, I'm gonna be inclined to think, okay, there's probably a point they have.
Yeah, granted, I get simplifying some of it. I know it's but that's more just because this is gonna make me sound weird, but if it's not gonna completely be the focus, it's sometimes you can't just stop the plot to really go into, which I know is frustrating for cultures, but I don't know. It's one of those things I get.
Do you think it was a damned if Marvel does, damned if they don't kind of situation?
I think sometimes when we want to dive into other cultures, sometimes it's hard to do
a really completely 100% accurate.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people will kind of point to how Prey was recently, but again, that's a that's like a multi-billion-dollar
Oh,
franchise
movie.
right
Yeah.
there. Like that obviously is going to have much higher of a budget.
Yeah. And like I said, like they can't just like go into the history, like completely go into the history, because we do still have to tell a story about this superhero that we're focusing on. However, I will admit that can your feelings of frustration are still merited, because it, this is like the first really high I'm trying to think of the word. High profile like Muslim superhero we're getting in either DC or Marvel. And the fact that they're not being fully representative of her culture could be frustrating, and I do get that. But I just, basically my bottom line is I don't think the MCU was doing it to be malice. I think the MCU was doing it because they're trying to do all this, tell the superhero story in 6 episodes, and there's not a lot of wiggle room to stop the plot and go really into the culture and explaining it.
Yeah.
So like I get your frustrations. I just hope you understand it probably wasn't completely from a place of malice. It was more just is all the.
It doesn't excuse it.
It doesn't excuse it, but I hope it at least makes it at least not like.
They didn't do it intentionally.
Yeah, they didn't do it intentionally, basically. Yeah. But yeah, I also admit, man, they really are not doing Damage Control any favors in this show. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like the fact that
damn, I already wasn't a fan of him from just what we saw in No Way Home, but holy hell, this amped that up to like 90.
Like the worst coming in episode 5, or maybe it was episode 5, where they shoot a missile from a drone strike into Bruno's apartment because the one I'm gonna completely forget what those guys' names are, and I'm gonna mix them up with Celestials. The race of people that Kamala. Because I know that's not the name.
I'll look it up because I remember I told you about it, that it was in there, and I straight up had to look it up.
No, that's fair, because
because it was from the Marvel UK imprint.
Yeah. And their name is very close to Celestials. I'm like, they are not Celestials. But basically, they're going after the guy that Kamala had a thing for, that taught her how to drive, or was trying to teach her how to drive. But no, like the Damage Control was like unbelievably clandestines. Yeah, you see now why.
Even I couldn't remember, because like it was something I had never heard of until I actually had to it showed up and I paused the episode and I looked it up. I was like, okay, I want to make sure I actually know what the hell we're talking about.
My problem was more like clandestine Celestial.
That's really close.
That's really close. And I was like, it's not Celestial. But no, like they really like I'm expecting by like the end of either She-Hulk or Daredevil that the Damage Control is going to be no more, or they're going to go under very, very heavy restructuring.
Yeah.
To say nothing of when hopefully Fury finally comes back into the MCU, because he's been missing for like almost a decade now, our time. Or at least it feels like it. I can't remember when Endgame was.
Couple years, that's it.
But it feels like a long time.
I was like, because No Way Home is a year after Far From Home. Or actually, no, it's like right after, and Far From Home is a year after Endgame.
Well, yeah, but how long do you how long do you think he like?
They obviously brought him back in Endgame. He wasn't. I mean, he died in Infinity War. He got brought back, so at least a year and a half. It isn't a decade. It's like a year and a half.
I mean, fair. I don't know.
I get what you're saying. It feels like it, but it's not that long.
That and the fact that like the fact that like the Skrull was portraying him in Hill, it's very questionable how long exactly Fury's been off planet. But I mean,
it happened post Endgame. I'm telling you that right now.
I mean, fair. But this is also Fury we're talking about, and this man has like 100 pots stirring, and he.
No, I know. I'm just saying. I guarantee you, it's not.
I mean, like I said, it's fair. It also, like I said, I think the last big movie he was in was like Captain Marvel, and it just feels like it's been forever because of how many Marvel movies come out. But yeah, no, like the fact that like Damage Control was going to like basically like destroy a mosque to find Kamala. The fact that like they went into a school with guns and brutally beat on teenagers. Like, I get that they have superpowers, but holy crap. That does not look good on you when you do that. I also... I'm trying to think what else I was going to say. I also like, and this is probably... These are my own feelings, but this is mostly because I have this big hang-up about teenage heroes where it seems like comic books only have like one story to tell with teenage heroes. And thankfully, like, towards the halfway point of the show, I actually... My complaints were gone, and I... And like I said, I'm not... This isn't anything against Kamala or her book, for the record, because, like, her book... Like, Miss Marvel does a lot of things very different from how other teen hero books go, and but like, for me, the problem with a lot of teen heroes is they only have one story they tell, and that's hero is outcast, hides the fact that they are superheroes from parents because, like, their parents act very, like, strict to them to the point where they're afraid that they're, like, you know, they're going to reveal, like, when they reveal this, they're going to get, like, sent to, like, to get experimented on, or, like... Basically, there's, like, one story, and that's teenagers must keep secret, and all the overblown teenage angst written by a 40-year-old white male that, like, barely remembers being a teenager. And I will admit that I did have those frustrations going in, especially with the first episode, which I feel bad for. I shouldn't have done that with my biases, but like it's my own personal feelings with teen superheroes. Like, basically Kamala and the Blue Beetle run have been like the only stories that like just have them come out and tell their parents. So it doesn't feel so frustrating when like so many of their problems could just, and I know that that's a teenager thing, but like when you read fiction, it sometimes gets very frustrating.
Well, it's a trope. Once you see the trope so many times, it kind of gets a little repetitive.
Yeah, especially with...
It's really the issue I have with... I don't like fucking Lifetime movies, because Lifetime movies, it's the same fucking story every fucking movie. There's never any secret twist or anything like that. They always end the fucking same. It's why I don't like fucking sitcoms, because every sitcom is the same, and nothing ever goes anywhere.
Yeah.
It's like, I get where you're coming from. It's a trope that is very, very annoying, because... it's the same every time they do it.
Especially when it seems like that's the only thing they do in superhero books.
Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying.
Like the only time they don't is when they do like team books like Champions or Teen Titans or Young Justice, where the teen characters are allowed to just be characters. I guess that's really what it comes down to. Is I get so frustrated when it feels like every teen superhero has to go through that. And because I know you and I have a few disagreements on that. I finally feel like I can explain it now. I think part of my problem is I had a very hard time trying to explain it because but I think you and I have come to an understanding here. So, but no, once they got to the halfway point, I suddenly realized, oh no, that was all intentional, and it basically got much better, and I fell in love with the show much faster than I did with the first episode. It also didn't help I hated the guidance counselor for their school.
No, that guy was a jackass.
I wanted to punch him in the face so fucking bad. Especially that one scene where like she got sent to the principal's office for getting clearly bullied and a dodgeball punched into the nose, and I was like, all right, yeah, high school. Although I will admit, when Kamala drew her teacher as like a demon on that one piece of paper, I'm like, well, Kamala, that's kind of your own damn fault for not doing that in a different class. But I also really, really liked whenever like they would go into Kamala's mind, or when she would like explain things, they would like animate and kind of show her thought process in a different way. That was really neat, and I really enjoyed every time they did it. That was really
same
fun.
Here. The art style was very, very... I really liked it.
Yeah, as did I.
It had a very unique feeling to it that I hadn't really seen a lot of other Marvel movies do. Like, when like the graffiti on the walls would be moving and stuff while they were moving and talking.
Yeah.
I really liked that because that was not only was that a very well done and very cool effect,
Yeah.
but it fit along really, really well with the tone of the show.
Yeah, like I think it's a really good way to show Kamala's personality and thought processes in a way that isn't just her like talking about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, I really like when film and TV actually uses the fact it's a visual medium to explain things.
Yeah.
It's the whole reason why I think
Show, don't tell.
Yeah.
Touch, but don't feel.
Yeah. It's basically the whole reason why we love Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Taste, but don't eat.
That one, I feel like there's some problems with that, but fair. I mean, granted, with wine, when you taste wine, you shouldn't actually imbibe it.
Damage control is an absentee government enforcement agency. Worship that? Never.
No, I was just finally happy when like we finally had one of them be like, "You're done. You just attacked a school, and there is such a thing as bad publicity."
Yeah.
Like, because it got so frustrating. Because I was like I get it. She is an unregistered super, but she's a teenager.
Boy.
Yeah, like, and also, like, let's recap what Kamala has done as a superhero. Now, granted, the first time she used her powers, she almost killed somebody, but that was an accident. Because her powers activated, and she still saved said person. B, the other time, was when she was trying to rescue a child who was falling out of a window. Like, bottom line, it's not like she was causing massive amounts of property damage.
It wasn't like the Hulk going on a rampage.
Yeah, it wasn't like
basically.
the Hulk going on a rampage. Like, you're all acting like it's like,
Listen, it's all because of the Sokovia Accords.
No, I
apparently
know.
She-Hulk is going to address, is what I heard.
Yeah, I'm hoping they finally abolish that stupid fucking accord, because I feel like the plot point has ran its...
That way we can forget Civil War ever happened, because that movie sucked shit. That movie is terrible.
Well, yeah, but like that's my thing with like those accords in general, because like I get so frustrated when we make politics in comics where it's the heroes can't do anything without being like considered criminals. Like, it's less so in DC, because I feel like the DC universe, they at least are like, hey, can the cops do anything against Gorilla Grodd? No. Then I think we're all right with the Flash dealing with him.
Yeah.
With the Marvel universe, it's like they just got. I shouldn't say they just got done, but like in terms of like comic books, they had just done the Outlawed storyline where they were outlawing teen superheroes. Which I'm like, hey, thanks. Basically means that like any storyline now with teen superheroes that you're going to write is going to be, well, I have to do it in secrecy because the cops are after me.
That isn't how that ended, though. Don't start with that shit. That's not how that ended.
I know that's not how it ended, but like that. But then to be fair, it makes the adult heroes look like hypocrites, because
no, we both agreed on that.
Because like I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, Peter. I didn't realize you had a thing against children being superheroes. It's not like you weren't one at 15. But I also really admit it was really nice just to see like Kamala be a teenager while still being Pakistani. Like, it was nice to like. I always worry when we get characters of like, you know, like of minority like status, because like I always worry, because like even though I know it's like 2022, I always worry that the focus is going to purely be on the fact that they are a minority. And it was nice to see her like, you know, just go to school. They show like, you know, that like her doing,
she's basically a normal person.
Yeah, like, but that she is like, it's not that her
they didn't make it that was her whole personality.
Yeah, like how a lot of LGBTQ characters get written. I mean,
just purely because like they don't want to have it that they don't want to have a quality LGBT Hugh character. They just want to have one that checks the box.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure a lot of people that are within that camp would find really patronizing. Like I know this actually recently got brought up by Mudahar on YouTube, talking about a separate issue about YouTube playing favorites on stuff.
Yeah.
And he mentioned that, like, because the guy that in question that was the main focus of the video, he had brought up in a video about it that when they have like Black Creator Month, it's very patronizing to Black creators because it makes it that like it's just very patronizing. And Mudahar basically said, yeah, if they did an Indian Creators Month, I'd have some choice fucking words about it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of the same deal with how they do those characters, and there's not any really depth.
Yeah.
It's just that they're there to check off that box so the company can be like, look what we got here.
Yeah.
And
like I said, I didn't think I had that big a worry with the MCU because
I didn't either.
But I just like to like give credit to the fact that like Kamala like wasn't constantly feeling like she was being written to just like all her dialogue didn't feel like it was just I'm Pakistani, I'm Muslim. Like it's very nice to have nuance.
It felt very natural. It felt very organic. It felt like an actual character being written. It didn't feel like a character existing purely to check off a box.
Because in comics, that's also how Kamala is, and that's one of the things I really appreciate about her.
Yeah, is that she feels like an actual character. She's a very organic character. She's honestly one of my favorite comic book characters because she just feels like such a natural character. She doesn't even really feel like a character. She feels like more like a person.
Yeah,
which is how all the best Marvel creations are.
It's how most fictional characters are.
Yeah, if they're good, they don't feel like a character that exists only on the page. They feel like a character that you could actually see yourself interacting with in real life.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons I, like Stan and Jack and all of the foundations of Marvel tried to do, because that's what made them different from DC. It's also just nice because, bringing up DC, around the same time Kamala got created, they created a Muslim Green Lantern character who wore a mask, and instead of using his green ring that can let him create constructs, he walked around with machine guns. Yeah.
DC, what the fuck? What the fuck is this?
Which is so frustrating because
what the fuck is this shit?
They do really good jobs creating Latino characters. Like, both Jaime Reyes, Echo, are great characters. It's one of the reasons why I liked Jaime and Blue Beetle, because like he's very nuanced character as well. They don't just be like, oh, he's Latino and he's from El Paso. He's a very robust character aside from the fact his biggest desire is he wants to be a dentist. And I'm like, but that's mostly because I don't really understand that. I guess he's a masochist is really what they're getting for. That's the only reason why you would be a dentist, I think. Apologies to dentists everywhere.
I like mine.
I like mine too, actually. In and out 20 minutes, and he's always very friendly. That was a weird aside, other than
anyway.
But, no, like I said, I really liked it. I really liked when we went to Pakistan because that was really nice, and I liked a lot of the lore where they created the red that group that like she meets that are like with the face masks.
I'm gonna be honest, it's been a while. I don't remember.
I want to say it's Red.
This is why I'm saying we gotta start having notes.
Is it Red Talons? I can't remember. But that was really cool. I really liked they played with that really well. I also really like that, like even though Kamala knows a lot about her culture, like she still has a lot of like things she doesn't
know at all about it.
Yeah. Like when she goes to the one restaurant, they won't let her in because she's wearing jeans. That and like I said, that fight with her and that dude was really, really good. I really liked how he's like got all these martial arts and like acrobatic feats, like clearly is trained, and like she only manages to get like a few moves out because she's just using her powers as best as she can. Like, it was really nice to show that like even though she's got her powers, she still has a lot to learn.
I really liked the use of music throughout the show. I think it was really well done.
Yeah.
I straight up wasn't expecting fucking Bon Jovi to be in there at one point. Was that one just as weird for you as it was for me? Where I was like, is that fucking Living on a Prayer I'm hearing?
Yeah, aside from the fact that like apparently her parents were really into
Well, they're from New Jersey.
He's
He's
from
from New Jersey.
Which, I mean, fair. Also really liked her grandma. Her grandma had that really warm grandma feeling. I know that's a weird thing to say, but I really like when they, in fiction, when they get the grandma characters down real well. I think it also helped that it reminded me a lot of that kind of relationship that T'Chaka and T'Challa had in Black Panther. I don't know why. I really like when there is that warm family dynamic with characters in with stories. Mostly because every other show anything has to make families so dysfunctional to the point where I'm like, man, I don't really know if I really like these characters myself. Also really like that moment she had with the leader of their church or their mosque. 'Cause I don't know what the name of the leader of the place of worship in a mosque is, so I'm just gonna say that. But I really like that whole scene, and about because she feels very afraid that she being a hero, a Muslim hero, is going to draw a lot of danger to their people and their mosque. Even though she wants to do the right thing, and he talks about how it's not about whether or not doing the right thing is wrong. It's simply doing the right thing. And I really like that moment. If you're on YouTube, I would have really liked to have to clip that, just because I really like that moment. I always like when we actually get moments that kind of shows why the hero does what they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, it was really good. I will admit, not thinking about it now, it was really frustrating how basically the film ends with Kamala fighting a character who has the exact same power set as her, almost every single Marvel origin story. But I guess at this point, the MCU just has a formula, and they stick to it pretty rigidly. Not that it was...
Well, you gotta think about it, too. The last time they stepped out of the formula was Eternals, and people got fucking hella mad.
Yeah, that's fair. But, no, like I said, I really like the show. If I were to have any, real other complaints, I will admit, I do kind of think the love triangle between Kamala, the guy teaching...
Yeah, that was kind of annoying.
Especially because it kind of made Bruno feel very... obnoxious, because at least half of the scenes with him is just him complaining about how the guy never gets his name right. I'm like, thank you, I get it, love triangle, wrap this up.
Love triangles are never interesting. Fuck out of here.
They really are not.
It's a worn out trope. Nobody likes it. Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, at least it's less stilted than when they were trying to have Donna Troy get into a love triangle with Jason Todd and Kyle Rayner.
No, get the fuck out of here. I hate love triangles. None of them are ever good.
Well, then it was stupid in general.
I don't even like that shit when it's MJ, Peter, and Gwen. That shit is really dumb.
Well, that love triangle was frustrating to me because then it also led into the fall of Arsenal, where Roy says that she was whoring around with Red Hood and Kyle when his daughter died, and I'm like,
dumb.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Dumb. I hate love triangles. I don't want to talk about
I have a lot of things I could say about Rise of Arsenal, but that's mostly because I happen to be a kind of a Green Arrow kind of guy. But
I guess let's move on to ratings. I mean, I know this one's real short, but I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. I thought it was really, really solid. I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to, but that definitely doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just the issues I had with it we already addressed, which was the power change and the whole her being a mutant instead of an inhuman. So I gotta take a couple points off for that, just because the comic purist in me is annoyed by that, but it's not a deal breaker for me. I still feel like the show did really, really well at showcasing who Kamala is as a person and who she is as a character. I'm really excited to see what they do with her, especially I'm really excited to see her and Carol interact.
Yeah.
Because that's one of my favorite buddy ships, honestly, in the entire MCU. Not just the MCU, but in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see where they go with that. I know Kamala's actress and Brie Larson get along really well, apparently, which I'm really happy
Which
about.
I think also really will help with the chemistry on screen.
Yeah, so I'm really happy about that. So, but like I said, 7.5 out of 10. I feel like that's right about where it is. It has its moments. It has its less than stellar moments. It has some stuff it could do better. It has some stuff it does really good. So kind of middle of the road for me. So 7.5.
I'll probably give it an 8, but mostly because I really enjoyed it once I got over my own hang-ups with it. So I, and I'm a little less harsh on it being completely accurate, but that's more because like I still think they did a good job in spite of not being accurate, and that matters a little bit more for me than accuracy. But it depends on what I'm doing. Like him and I said, we do have our hang-ups. Like, I know that's one of our biggest hang-ups was a lot of the ways they portrayed Spider-Man in the MCU, which, coming this December, our retrospective on the Spider-Man Home trilogy.
Wait, hold on, back up. I zoned out for a minute.
I said coming this December, our
Oh, okay. I
our
was
look
like,
at the Spider-Man Home trilogy.
I was like, wait a minute, man. I was never part of this agreement.
No, for Spidey, miss.
Okay, I was like, wait a minute.
Then I feel like we should do a retrospective for it because we've done a retrospective.
Those are the only two
Chasm.
Spider-Man movies we haven't done.
Yeah. And probably
granted, we did Far From Home, but that was coming out of the theater.
And we'll probably do a retrospective on the Spider-Verse movies once they finally all get done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to the fact when we no longer have to deal with damage control. Because I remember I was live,
I remember I texted, well, because you kept putting off watching it and putting off watching it, and I was like, finally, I was like, I'm just gonna tell you because I'm tired of waiting for your fucking reaction to this. Damage control is in this. Yeah. I was like, I want to fucking see a reaction.
No, I know. Look, man, this job sometimes gets really stressful for me sometimes, but no, I like I said, I'm looking forward to when damage control gets gone.
Yeah,
because man, that bitch that was in this was fucking annoying. Not the actress, the character.
But so anyway, guys, stay tuned. By the time this drops, the No Way Home extended cut video should already be out. Check that out, because at the time of this filming, that is 2 days away. But at the time of release, it'll already be out. So we totally don't film stuff in advance.
Yeah, no, totally.
But anyway, guys, as always, I'm Average Joe Squad.
And I'm Zongetsu134.
And we ask you,
remember the hyphen?
and take care.
Also, you make a con for us, don't be super historically accurate, because holy shit.